Okay, so now everybody come to your mat. And let's go right into a pose today, beginning with Supta Baddha or Supta Virasana, whichever one is most available to you. Okay, so with a bolster, if you don't have a bolster, have a stack of blankets. Place blankets for your head, or at least one folded blanket. And I have my bolster centered on my mat so that when I lie back, I'm going to sit in the center of my mat. And then I can see that I'm going to go straight back onto my bolster. So I'm choosing Virasana, Supta Virasana. And then I'll show Supta Baddha if you don't know it. So this is one way. I like to belt the whole leg, the shin and the thighs, because I feel like it really grounds my legs, makes them very earthy. But if you prefer, you can just sit up and belt only the thighs together. And then leaving a little space so that I can lengthen my lumbar, tucking the tailbone as I lower myself down onto my support. And then here, just lifting my hips again to extend my tailbone toward the back of the thighs, and then softening through the abdominal Manipura chakra region. Keep this area soft, back of the neck long, arms, palms up. So now you can choose this way, or come into Supta Baddha. Supta Baddha, you take the soles of the feet together. You make a big loop in your belt. Put that loop overhead. And then bring it around between your knees and pull it up. See that at the back, the belt is below your waist so that it's around the hips and not up here around the waist, but lower down. And then from the front, you can see that I have it between my knees, around my feet. And then I've got the tail of the belt pointing toward me so I can pull it in as I lie down. So then lying down in Supta Baddha, and I can pull the tail of the belt in, bring the heels of my feet closer to the perineum of the pelvic floor, lengthen the back of my neck, same principles here. Abdomen is soft. Now, if the knees are high, if you have within reach a couple of bricks, you can put them underneath your knees, underneath the thighs. And then this will reduce any tension in the groins or any discomfort in the hip joints. So you can place the blocks at whatever height you need. And now whichever version you're doing, start to settle in here with an exhalation breath. Then see that the back of the neck is long and the inner gaze is toward the heart. Okay, so we're connecting always this spiritual eye to the spiritual heart. And whichever pose you're in, bring your arms up toward the ceiling and extend your arms overhead. Reach overhead. And so the arms reach beyond the crown of the head, and watch for the tendency for the lower ribs to pop up here. As you extend the arms, reach out through the thumb side. See if you can lengthen the back of your body more. Lift from the floating ribs of the lower back and extend beyond the crown of the head. You can clasp the elbows and rest the arms on your bolster, still overhead. But if this creates hardness in the abdomen, then bring your arms back down. Or if it's difficult for your shoulder, if you have a shoulder that's not happy here, then bring your arms back down by your sides. Otherwise, keep the arms up for a few more breaths. The eyes receding back into the sockets. Tongue relaxing in the lower palate. With an exhalation breath, now let go of your day. Let go of everything that came before this moment. Just be here in this present moment in your yoga. And what this means. Our yoga practice is meant to bring stillness, chitta vritti nirodha, cessation of the fluctuations of consciousness or of mind. With the exhalation breath, let go of thoughts. And any difficult conversations you've had, any pressing schedule, just let it go. You can lower your arms by your side if you haven't already. Through the work with Father Joe, I've been working a lot and thinking a lot about cravings and addictions, and certainly the Yoga Sutras talk about this a lot too. I was thinking one of the most insidious of all addictions is our addiction to a positive experience. So much so, it's an expectation. And that there may be many factors that drive this, that motivate this. But it's absolutely visible. We all expect it. And yet it's insidious because we don't question it. This belief that every exchange we have, everything we engage in should go well and turn out well. And if it doesn't, it's some kind of failure. And this expectation causes us suffering. Whatever pose you're in, press down through the palms and come up chest first. Then remove your belt. Turn toward your bolster. Coming into Adho Mukha Virasana, sitting back on your heels, knees apart, bring the bolster between the knees, and then lengthen your frontal spine over the bolster. See that this thoracic diaphragm is supported as you reach forward through your hands. Look forward, take the frontal spine all the way from the pubic bone to the breastplate, becomes longer. And then press down through the palm pads, drive down the outer corners of your hips. Exhale and rest your head on your bolster. Now, if this is not enough support for you, you can build it up with blankets. If it's hard on your knees or your hips, you can add support underneath your buttocks. As needed. With the exhalation breath, letting go. Letting go of your thoughts, your breath. Go on extending through the arms and broadening across the shoulders by turning the outer armpit chest toward the floor. Now, where is the weight in your hands? Roll the weight toward the base of the thumb and index finger. So lift up your hands. Only the heel of the hand is down. And now first place the thumb, the index finger down, and then the other fingers follow. So the weight is placed primarily in the thumb and index finger. Then lengthen through the inner arms. And press down through the palm pads and extend the buttocks toward the heels again. Getting extension in the spine. Slow, soft, easy breathing. Here we establish a sattvic mind state, a peaceful mind state that will stay with us through the duration of our practice. Now look forward again. Lock your shoulder blades against the back ribs. Turn your toes under and exhale into Adho Mukha Svanasana. If you can rest your head on your bolster. If you need more height, you could place a brick on top of the bolster. Again, press down through the heel of the hands. Lengthen all the way to the outer corners of the hips and hit the heads of the thigh bones back. Turn the outer armpit chest toward the floor, broadening across the shoulders. All the same actions in this pose. Can you stay with that sattvic mind here? If you're able to support the head, it comes more easily. But observe as we move from a quiet pose to a pose of a somewhat higher demand. Are you able to bring that sattvic mind with you? So this belief, this expectation of a positive outcome follows us to our yoga mat. And it can create an inner narrative that doesn't support us as we somehow fail to meet our own expectations. Can you be without expectations? Can you love your yoga pose as it is? Love yourself as you are, without needing to fix it. And now looking forward, I'm going to swing the hips toward the bolster, resting the thighs on the bolster, press down through the palms, lengthen up through the inner arms. Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Turn the upper arms from the inside out and broaden across the collarbones. Stand out through the heels, lifting the inner knees. Eyes soft, breath soft. Staying with that sattvic mind state. And now preparing to push back into Adho Mukha Svanasana. Imagine a ball of light in the abdominal region, in the solar plexus. And as you exhale and push back, lift from that ball of light. Exhale into Adho Mukha Svanasana. Find the lightness in this region. Rest your head again. We have the earthy element of the legs, the arms in this pose. They have to be very powerful, very grounded. The watery element of the pelvis, the lower abdomen, stays soft. And the light element of the solar plexus creates lightness in our asana. And now look forward and either step or jump to Uttanasana. Standing forward bend. Today we're going to use the chair in this pose. To come out, bring your hands to your hips, pin your shoulders back, And come to standing. Remove your bolster and have a chair. So Barbara, if you happen to have a yoga chair or some chair that you can use for this. And then also have a brick. Okay, so I've got the chair, the yoga brick. And then from here, facing the chair, you can have your feet hip width apart. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, reach up through the arms. Become long in the spine. Exhale, fold forward. Take your palms to the back of the chair. You might have to adjust the distance of your feet from the chair as you do this. Extend up through the arms. Begin by looking forward, getting length from the pubic plate to the breastplate, and then let your ears come between your arms. Shoulder blades locked against the back ribs. Don't drop the head. Keep the head parallel between the arms. And hit the head of the thigh bones back. Pulling up through the front of the thighs, kneecaps firm, legs are like pillars, very earthy. As you extend the arms forward, hit the thigh bones back one, getting that extension in the spine. And then from that solar plexus region, envision that globe of light that lifts you slightly in this region so that you don't drop toward the floor like an old cow. You want to keep that region slightly lifted. And now this may be your pose, or you may be able to take your forehead down to your chair seat. And here, when we bring the forehead to the chair seat, this is a Father Joe approach to this pose so that we really stimulate the Ajna chakra, the third eye. And you can clasp your elbows and with your palms to the inside of the elbows, draw the elbows down toward the mat. If you can't take your head to the seat, maybe you can take it to a yoga brick. Eyes soft, breath soft. Thoughts will run by in the background, and they'll look for something to catch on to. Just let them go without giving them your attention. Stay with your breath. And this may be your final pose, or the next stage would be to take the crown of your head to an upright yoga brick. I'm going to take the crown of my head to a brick. You might need more than one. That's okay. Take whatever you need. And now resting the top of the head on support. The back of the neck is long when we do this. Inner shoulders lift away from the ears. Outer corners of the hips lifting. And to come out, look forward, bring your hands to your hips, pin your shoulders back, and come all the way up. Now you can remove the brick. We're going to work with the chair a little bit more with a standing forward bend, working with Parsvottanasana. I'm just going to stand close to the chair. We can do this together if you can see me. We'll stand close to the chair and step the left foot well back. Aligning heel to heel, spin the thighs in and lift up from the frontal spine. So again, we're keeping this length from the pubic plate to the breastplate as we fold forward into this pose. Bring the outer corner of the back hip forward, spin the thighs in, and straighten your knees. Exhale, fold from the hips, take your hands to the chair seat. This is the first stage of this pose, Parsvottanasana. Parsvot meaning extension of the sides of the torso, even though most people feel this in the hamstrings. So now, pay attention to your feet. The feet are our foundation. Front foot, sharpen the inner edge of the foot by lifting the outer ankle. Lift the outer ankle and press down firmly through the big toe mound and inner heel. And then go on lifting that outer ankle all the way up to the hip socket. Move your right sit bone to your left sit bone. Back leg, spin the thigh in and drive down through the inner back heel. Even if the heel doesn't go all the way down, it might not, it moves in that direction. And then maintain this, hit the heads of the thigh bones back, get the weight more and more into the back foot. Maintain this and move the spine in and up, collarbones toward the back of the chair. Now this may be your final pose, or you may be able to walk your hands down the chair legs. As you do so, don't create a hump in the upper back. We want to keep the shoulder blades moving in, collarbones forward. Then you may be able to walk your hands down to the floor and take your forehead to the chair seat. Straighten that front knee. Don't let the knee bend. Both legs are straight as pillars. Outer corners of the hips cut back. And forehead resting, or maybe your forehead doesn't rest. Instead, you're coming forward from the collarbones, moving the spine in and up. Eyes soft, breath soft. Parsvottanasana, a standing forward bend. In these forward bends, there's an element of surrender into the pose. Now, looking forward, if your hands were down, walk them to the chair back, right out to the chair seat. And then drive down through the back heel. As you inhale, stand all the way up. With your hands on your hips, step toward the chair. And we'll change sides. And step your right foot well back. Spinning the thighs in, especially that back leg thigh, turn it in even more. Cut the outer corner of the right hip forward, okay? So you're making your hip points even with the chair. And now heads of the thighs hit back as you exhale and fold forward. Bring your hands to the chair seat. And here we establish the base again. Spin the thighs in again, sharpen the front foot by cutting down through the big toe mound, the inner heel. Outer ankle lifts all the way up into the hip sockets. You zip it up. I feel how that shifts the hip as you do this. The tendency in this pose is for this front leg hip to come forward. You might feel this in yourself. This is why it's this lengthening the sides of the torso pose, is we need to be mindful of what happens in this front leg. So take your thumb and index finger, hook it into that front leg hip and push it back. Push it away from the chair. Make it even with the back leg hip. Now, when you did this, did you lose the sharpness in the front foot? Cut down through the big toe mound, the inner heel again. And place your hand back on the chair. Spin the thighs in and take the weight, almost like push off of the chair and get the weight into your back leg, back foot. Inhale, spine moves in and up. And then this may be your final pose, or you can walk your hands down the chair, still lengthening the frontal spine forward, looking forward, thigh bones back. Watch for how light that back foot becomes. Can you make the weight even in the back foot and the front foot? As you drive down that back heel, roll the outer corner of your right hip toward the floor. Bring it forward slightly. And this may be your stop, or you may be able to walk your hands down toward the floor and take your forehead to the chair seat. All versions are good, all stages are good. Lift the shoulders away from the ears, whatever pose you're doing. Relax the skin of the shoulders away from the neck. Go on hitting the heads of the thigh bones back, getting the weight into the back leg. Every few breaths, we need to renew the actions in this pose. And now start to walk your hands up to the chair seat. Drive down through that back heel. Inhale and come up. And then step in toward the chair. Okay, so we're going to up the effort a notch, doing Virabhadrasana 3 with the chair. So we're going to do Virabhadrasana 3 with the chair. You can watch me for a moment if you're not sure where we're going with this. Coming back to hands on the back of the chair, feet together. And reach back with my right foot and extend it up. Now, as I do this, watch for the tendency for that hip to lift. You have to spin that thigh in and lift from the inner knee, extend out through the inner arch. And then we'll do the second side. Okay, so that's all come into the pose. Now, if you have, I'm starting away from the chair, but if your back bothers you, you can start closer to the chair and walk back. Okay, that doesn't demand as much from the back as if you were to start here, fold forward and take your hands to the chair. This is more work for your back. So you decide which way to enter the pose, and then everybody be in this place, both feet on the floor. Extend up through the arms, lengthening the side walls of the torso. Now cut the outer corners of your hips back. Bring all of your weight into your left foot. Reach back through the right foot. Spin the thigh in, and from the inner knee, lift up. Lift from the inner knee and extend out through the inner edge of the foot. Reach out through the inner arch. Tighten the knee. And then extend the arms forward. Go on reaching up through your leg. Lock the shoulder blades in. And look slightly forward. And exhale back down. Rest for a moment here. And we'll do the second side. Now reach back with your left foot, taking all the weight in the right, and now from the inner knee, lift up. Extend out from the groin to the inner arch. Now the standing leg also from the outer ankle, zip it all the way up to the hip socket. Keep the hips level. Trudy, are you pushing your foot into a wall? That's okay. Exhale and come down. It's a little bit of an advantage. And then walk into your chair to come up. Okay. So I don't think everybody has a chair like this today. Susan does. Who else has a chair like this that they can work with? Trudy does. Mary does. Barbara, do you have a chair like this or you don't today? You do. Oh, there it is. Great. Okay, good. So we're going to work with Urdhva Prasarita Ekapadasana today. I want the back of my chair to be at a height that when I come forward, I feel supported here. That means I'm going to need to add more height. So you can do this as well. Add more height to the back of your chair until you feel that when you come forward, it's supporting you at the outer corners of your hips. So I'm not very tall, so I just needed one blanket, but you might need more, okay? I'm just going to give you a moment to get what you need. And then from here, bring your hands to the chair seat, feet together. Make sure you have enough room behind you to take your leg up. I actually have to move a little bit. You can feel both hip points on the chair back, hands supported on the chair. And now maintain your hips on the chair back as you reach back with your right foot and lift it up. Now let that right hip come off the chair. And then bring it down. And we'll do the second side. Spin the thighs in, reach up, extend out from the groin to the inner arch of your left leg now. Both hips even at the chair. And then come on back down. Okay, so that was a lot like Vira 3, and it can be a Vira 3. So to make this more Prasarita Ekapadasana, we're going to take the hands down the chair. And you can just watch me to begin with. I can rest my forehead on the chair and then reach up with my right leg. Spin the thigh in and extend up through the inner edge of the leg. Don't let the hips come off the chair seat. And we'll do this with the second side. Okay, everyone go ahead. Fold over the chair. And if you prefer to stay with the first version with the hands on the chair seat, you can do that. Otherwise, walk your hands down the chair legs. Spin the thighs in, extend back through the right leg and lift up. Go on reaching up, take the sole of your foot toward the ceiling. Reach higher. Don't let the knee bend, but go on lifting. Don't let the hip come off the chair, but go on lifting. Reach more, and then exhale your leg back down. And then we'll do the second side. Extend the left leg back, and then from the inner leg, lift up, reach up, become higher and higher and higher. Tighten the knee, extend out through the inner arch. Don't let your hip come off the chair. Straighten the knee, everybody, straighter knees. And then exhale down. You're just going to rest for a moment. You're going to do this one more time on each side. If you need to adjust anything, if you need to change the support that you have in any way, go ahead and do so. If you have too much or not enough support under your hips, or you want a blanket on your chair seat. And now we're going to do this a second time. Walk your hands down the chair legs. You can rest your head on the chair. And just reach back with the right foot. And with an exhale, lift from the inner knee. Now go on and extend from the groin to the inner arch. Lift higher. Reach up. Keep lifting the inner knee higher. That's how you can keep the legs straight. Keep lifting the inner knee higher and higher and higher. Reach up. And then exhale, bring your leg back down. And last side. Last side. Reach back with the left leg. Exhale, bring it up. Now, you know, if you're taking your hip off the chair, you can feel it for yourself. You're self-determining in these online classes. You are sharing the role of teacher with me as you pay attention to what's going on. Go on spinning the thigh and reach up more. And then exhale and come down. Now, does everyone have 2 yoga bricks that you can put on your chair seat? Okay. We haven't done this next one in ages, so just watch me. And I'm going to show you from the side and then I'll show you from the front. This is Mayurasana with my palms on the chair, heel of the hand forward. And I'm going to turn my chair in a minute so you can see the other way. I can let my fingers grow off the edge. I'm going to bend so that my elbows are closer to my abdomen, and lift the legs. Extend out through the collarbones. Shoulder blades move back and down. Remember that one? So here's from the front so that you can see I've got my bricks here. If you have if your bricks are slippery, put something on your chair, a mini mat, something to keep them still. I'm going to turn the heel of my hands forward. Susan, wait for me. Okay. And then I bend slightly forward, a bit of a forward bend, round my back slightly so I can get my elbows closer to my abdomen. And then lift the legs up. Collarbones forward now. Okay, so let's do this. Lift from the inner knees. And if this one's a little bit too much for you, Barbara, I don't know if you've ever done this pose before. You want to give it a try. Okay, so then hands on the bricks, fingertips can come off. You really want to get your hips over the chair. And then bend the elbows, round your back slightly so the elbows go into the abdomen. And then start to lift your feet off the floor. Then collarbones forward. Spin the thighs in and lift through the inner legs. And then when you feel you've been there long enough, you come down. Give yourself a pat on the back. So we need that sattvic state when we go into a pose like this. I couldn't quite see you, Barbara. Did you get up? Yes, you're not yet? Do you want to unmute you're good? Unmute yourself so I can tell what you're saying.
I was just balancing on the back of the chair.
Great.
So it felt pretty good.
Did you get the arm position? Great.
Well, I think so. I'll show you.
Looks like you're doing it. I can't see your legs, but I can see that you're doing it. Well done.
Well, I'm just balancing on the top.
Yeah.
So it's up. Okay.
Yeah. Bouncing on the back of the chair in the hands. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to mute you again then. All right. So the full pose is a bit of a reach. We've had 2 prime ministers do it for the cameras. It does come to males a little bit easier, and maybe we'll try it off the floor one day. Okay, so we're done now with, I think let's stay with the chair. Let's stay with the chair. Let's do Dvipad Viparita Dandasana with the chair. I'm gonna place the chair so that I can take my feet to a bolster. I'm gonna demonstrate the pose first. If you know what we're doing, you can go ahead. If you want to put a mat or a blanket on your chair seat, you can. I'm gonna belt my thighs. And come back a little bit more. And scoop my tailbone toward the back of my knees, push into my bolster to straighten my legs, and then take my head onto my block. This is the first stage. We'll do 2 stages of this pose. This is the first one, shoulders pinned back, and you can take the hands inside the chair and pin the shoulders back and down. Then the next stage is to slide off just a little bit and come onto the horizontal brick onto the crown of the head. Okay, these are the 2 stages we'll do today. If anyone has glaucoma, they would not take the head as low. They would keep the head at the same height as the chair that they're on. So like using a second chair. You can also have your feet right at a wall. It doesn't have to be a bolster. You might want your feet on top of the bolster though. So that's one of the handy things about having a bolster here. If it's too much of a challenge on the back, then you can rest your heels up on top of the bolster. By elevating the feet, it reduces the amount of hip extension, which can relieve any low back discomfort. And anyone with low back discomfort, you just walk your feet a little higher up with the bolster or walk your feet up a wall. And the belt keeps the thighs together, but we still have this action of spinning the thighs in, extending out through the heels, and gripping the crossbar with the hands, pin the outer shoulders down, broadening across the collarbones. Beginning with the brick on a vertical height. And at the other end, if this is uncomfortable for the neck, then you use extra height under your head, a second brick or a second chair. See that the edge of the chair seat is on the shoulder blades. Yeah, you're low on your chair, Susan. Get the edge of the chair on your shoulder blades, not down in the kidney area. And be sure that you have support under your head because we're going to be here for a few minutes. Sam, you would take a second chair for your head. And what's in this pose, the gaze is toward the heart. So the spiritual eye to the spiritual heart. Ajna chakra to anahata chakra. Maintain the fire in the legs, extending out through the legs. And bring your awareness to how the prana moves in the thoracic bowl region in this pose. I'm just demonstrating now what somebody with glaucoma or a neck injury would do. This is Dvipada Viparita Dandasana. This is a yogi's prostration to their teacher, to their elder, their guru. And in this pose, it is a pose of surrender, of a gift. This is a very powerful, proud kind of a pose. It is worthy of the teacher. I saw my teacher, Patricia Walden, someone do this for her at her birthday party. It was very beautiful. Breath soft. The breath is powerful, but not held, not gripped. And with the head supported, take care that you're not gripping the back of the neck. The skin of the back of the neck should be soft. And then you can stay here or take your brick to the horizontal height, lowering at one time. If you need to come up, you can just sit tall, come up and sit tall, wait for us. So if you haven't done this often or for a while, then it's not good to stay in it for a long time. You won't feel like you can stay in it a long time. But for now, then you can take the head down to the horizontal, the brick to the horizontal height. You're just sliding down the chair about an inch or so. You're not going all the way down to the kidney band. Eyes soft, breath soft. And then everyone preparing to come out of this pose. Bring your hands to the chair back, bend your knees, place your feet on the floor, tuck in your chin and come up chest first and sit tall with your arms crossed over the chair back, chest lifted, let your head come forward. After the back bending, tuck your tail slightly. Now we're going to do a twist to relieve the spine after the back extension. Now with a soft exhalation breath, turn to your right. Plant the feet firmly on the floor. Pin the shoulders back. Inhale, become taller. Exhale, turn from the abdomen. Inhale, become taller. Exhale, turn from the rib cage. Turn from the collarbones. With each inhalation, lengthen up through the spine. With each exhalation, turn more. Push into the belt to anchor the legs. And now turn your head as far as you can. And if you have nowhere to go with your head, notice that you led with the head. And this isn't going to put more strain on your neck. So you want to finish with the turn of the head. Exhale and release. Push out into the belt as you press down firmly through the feet. This anchors the hips. Otherwise, the hips are going to chase the twist. We'll go to the second side. Inhale, exhale, soften the abdomen and turn. Inhale, exhale, turn from the navel. Inhale, become taller. Exhale, turn from the rib cage. Keep your head neutral. Don't turn it around yet. Pin the shoulders back. Inhale, lift up through the spine. Exhale, turn again. Turn from the collarbones. And now turn your head to look behind you. Exhale, turn back toward the chair back. Remove your belt. Tilt your chair toward the wall or whatever direction. Just tilt your chair away from you and step out. And now we'll do chair sarvangasana. So for this, we're going to do the Viparita Karani in the chair. So the legs will be straight up in the air. You want to bolster for your shoulders. You can do this, if you're not doing this, you can do Viparita Karani with legs up the wall. I'm going to have a blanket for under my head and shoulders. So when I go to slide out of this pose, it's very hard to slide on my sticky mat. So I want something smooth and soft here. Now, if you want, you could put support on your chair. If you don't need it, you don't need it. But if you want to put, say, I can have these mini sticky mats put on my chair with another blanket. That mini mat keeps the chair from sliding around. You could also just have a mat on your chair if you feel like you can slide off of your mat. Go ahead and get set up. And if you know how to do this, you can go ahead and go into your pose. Okay, so then I'll demonstrate. See how I take my legs up on the back of the chair, slide my buttocks through so my back is on the chair. Let a waterfall off the chair, very much like the pose I just did, Viparita Karani, how my shoulders came off of the chair, and then just slide all the way down and push off with the foot. Get my shoulders on top of the bolster, and then from here, I'll bring my hands through to hold the crossbar, pin the shoulders down, and stretch up through the legs. So you can go ahead and do this now if you haven't already. If your arms don't go through to hold the crossbar, sometimes shoulders are too broad, or not too broad, but too broad for this, then you can hold the outside of the chair. You may also be able to just let the arms relax on the bolster. Whatever way you do this, the weight is on the shoulders, the neck is long, and there's no weight on the head. Spin the thighs in, stretch up through the legs. We did a lot of awakening of the legs today, so this should feel quite natural for your legs now. They've been doing call and response for you for the last hour. Eyes soft, breath soft. Again, observant of how the prana flows in the chest box region. And the quieting, pacifying element aspect of this pose, this restorative version of Sulamba Sarvangasana, whether you're doing Viparita Karani at the wall or off the chair, is part of the Sulamba Sarvangasana cycle. We make that Jalandhara Bandha, the lift of the heart center, the pinning down of the outer shoulders, and the Jalandhara Bandha, the chin lock. And the gaze is directly inward toward the heart center. Never losing that relationship between the spiritual eye and the spiritual heart. Every few breaths, you'll need to renew your pose, stretching up through the legs again. If you become tired, you can place your feet on the chair back and take your knees apart in Baddha Konasana. Barbara, your feet are coming too forward toward your head. Take your legs back, away. That's perfect. There you are. Good. Stay with the flow of prana, the movement of breath. And as Prashant Iyengar would say, let the position create the condition. The shape of the pose, the asana, does its own work. Now, everyone bring your your feet to the chair. And then take your knees apart in Baddha Konasana. You can take your arms out from the chair back and just let your arms rest on the bolster. And now to come all the way out of the pose, bring your knees back together and just push off of the chair back with your feet and slide down onto the bolster so that your hips come onto the bolster. You can move the bolster just a little bit away from the chair so you can stretch your legs out, calves on the chair seat. And then draw your knees in, turn to your right side, whatever side is easier to come up. Preferably the right, but you may not have easy access to turning that way. So whichever side you can turn to and come on up. And we'll do, let's do, this pose has really two different names for it. When we do it without the chair, I just think of it as Ubaye Panagustasana, but then Father Joe calls it Navasana. We'll take a belt, and you may need, depending on your height, you may need more than one belt for this, if you have it. If you don't have more than one belt, then I'll just show you another way to do it. Now, see, I'm just going to put the belt around the neck of my heels, and it's around my upper back, so that I feel it on my shoulder blades from behind. Bring my calves onto the chair seat, and then sit tall, legs straight. So we also do this without the chair and just work with the balance freely. So you have this option too, if you like, to do without the chair. And if you don't have a belt that's long enough to do this with, you can just hold on to the ends of the belt and work this way. Shoulder blades in, spine moving in and up. You're going for the sit bones, and as much as possible, lifting toward the front of the sit bones. You might feel like you're a little bit moving to the back edge of the sit bones, but by moving the spine in and up, can you move a little bit more to the front edge of the sit bones? And then don't be hard on yourself. If that's not coming, work where you are. Let's move in this direction. Now, from the very base of the spine, move in and up. And some of you are still just getting there. Shoulders descending. Lift from the heart center. Get that chest of Viparita, Dvipada Viparita Karani. Salamba, Sarvangasana, get that big open chest. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. And then eyes soft. Make this a meditation. As you balance here, even with the chair, there's an element of balance. There's a lift that has to come from the back body. Like you're balancing on the points of the sit bones. And as you lift from the base of the spine, this pose is said to tone the organic body, works on toning the organs. Go on spinning the thighs in, stretch out through the legs. Relax the shoulders away from the ears and lift from the collarbones instead. And maybe you can lift your legs off the chair seat and balance there. And stay present and accepting in what you do. When we balance, acceptance must be there, or there is no balance. And it's okay to play with it. And now preparing to come out of this pose, you can bend your knees, come off the chair, bring your feet down to the floor and remove the belt. And we're going to finish with the chair Paschimottanasana. Looks like we use the chair a lot today. Chair Paschimottanasana. Extension of the west side of the body. Now I have a bolster. I'm just going to sit on the edge of the chair seat. I'm hooking my sit bones on the edge of this chair seat, stretching out through the legs. You need a non-slip surface. So you can always put your chair against a wall if you don't have a reliable surface. My mat is very sticky. And then folding forward, reach for the feet, and rest your head. Now maybe this is more than you can do here. You can instead turn the bolster the other way, use the belt, and maybe your head isn't going to come all the way down. Maybe having the bolster the other way doesn't help. Maybe you can have something that's not going to slide on top that you can eventually take your head down to. Or you look forward, collarbones forward, spine moving in and up. Whichever way you do it is absolutely beautiful. It's your best pose. There's no outside standard. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. When we make a lot of effort, the shoulders can really climb up. Notice this, so your shoulders climbing up on you. Do the eyes start to harden? Just find the pose you can do right now. And with an exhalation breath, surrender to it. Stay with your breath. Now the prana moves a little differently in a forward fold. You feel it more in the spine, in the back body. You may feel the heaviness of your lungs. And to come out, press down through the thighs, inhale back up. And you'll come into Shavasana. So set up for yourself how you would like to do Shavasana today. Have a blanket for your head. If your low back is bothering you right now, you could put a bolster under your thighs. And this will tilt the pelvis in a way that will give a little relief to the lumbar region. You may even want more support under your knees so that you can bend them more. If your back is fine, then place the bolster on top of your thighs, right at the root of the thighs. This acts to make the legs more earthy and release away from the grip of the pelvis, so that as you focus on the breath, the legs are anchored. They don't get pulled up. As we inhale, you may notice the contraction of the limbs in toward the torso. As we weight the limbs, as we weight the legs, prevents this. You may cover your eyes. If you have a soft cloth, an eye pillow, or even using a yoga belt to just spread across your eyes so that the muscles of the eyes relax a little bit more, the outside light is gone. And then with an exhalation breath, let loose everywhere. Let the thighs be heavy. Let the shoulders, the arms be heavy, earthy, drop away. Belly soft. And stay with your breath, not controlling the breath in any way, but be the witness to the gentle rise and fall of prana. Eyes receding deep into the sockets. All the fine muscles around the eyes soften and smooth. Tongue recedes into the lower palate. Notice if your tongue is pressed against the back of the teeth or the upper palate. And then without any judgment, just soften it, let it recede into the lower palate. And then parting the teeth, let the teeth part. Inner mouth open, outer mouth closed. Throat soft. The ears drop away. All the organs of perception begin to fold inward. The outer world no longer importunes on you. Feel the heaviness of your body, the earthiness of your body. And if you notice you've been caught up in thoughts, just let them go. The thoughts will run in the background, a byproduct of your nervous system, composed of past experiences and fantasies about the future based on those past experiences. These are the ones that stayed with us, are samskaras. It's only when we let them get our attention that they become important. And just let them go right now. Deepening your breath now, bringing your awareness back to the surface. Gently moving fingers, toes, wrists, ankles, however you feel, desire to move. And then drawing in your knees, turn to one side and come to sitting. Come to a comfortable seat. Sthira Sukhamasana, shoulders back, shoulder blades descending. Bring the palms together in Atmanjali Mudra. Thumbs to the heart center lifted to greet the prayer hands. And we'll close the practice by chanting the Om one time. Take an exhalation breath and then full inhalation. Om. May the benefits of our practice be extended to others. Namaste.